Welcome to College 101. I am Sandy Mitchum, and I have been the college advisor here at Signal Mountain for 15 years. We're lucky enough to have two members of our team. Ms. Jagande joined us 2 years ago, so we're going to share some information with you to hopefully make this process a little smoother and a little less stressful. I am going to go over some organizational tips, some things students can do now and this summer. And again, we're just hoping we can be here to help facilitate this process for you and make life a little easier. We did hold junior workshop a few weeks ago, and I'm going to let you know the things we went over with your students. The main thing we wanted to make sure is that they knew there were some things they could accomplish right now and this summer. Things they can do right now. They can ask teachers for rec letters. We suggest 2 to 3 letters. That's typically enough. We ask them not to over ask teachers. They work very hard on these letters, and these letters are fabulous, but there are very few exceptions to needing more than 2 or 3. They may even apply to a school that doesn't require any letters. They may apply to a school that requires a counselor letter. They are welcome to come talk to us at any time to figure out exactly how many letters they might need. I also point out to them that I've read letters for 15 years, so I have a pretty good idea of who writes really strong letters. If they have a list, they are welcome to bring the list to me, and I can make suggestions on who I think they should ask. Keep in mind, if they need the counselor letter, that can be Dr. Dagnan, it can be Ms. Sharp, it can be an outside person, it can be a college advisor, it could be myself, Ms. G. We can go over all that with the student individually if they're unsure who to ask for the counselor letter. Another thing I strongly suggest students do is they create a professional email address that they use exclusively for the application process. And by that, I mean simply their name. A lot of times students have something like GoVols, which is great unless you're planning to apply to schools other than UTK. At that point, GoVols would not be appropriate. So we suggest their name, and do not use that email address to register for the ACT or for college fairs. That would then open up an avenue to receive a lot of additional emails from other colleges. If you reserve this email address just for the application process, you and your student are 100% certain that everything in that inbox has to do with a college they are interested in. Colleges will reach out through email, and it is important they not miss important invites or information about missing materials. They will not reach out to me. They will not reach out to mom and dad. They will reach out to the student. So it is important that they make sure to check those emails frequently. Colleges will sometimes ask them to then create a school email or will refer them to the portal. So they need to be aware to be on the lookout and follow all directions from the college that they receive through email. If they're ever uncertain, they are always welcome in the fishbowl, and we can help guide them through the next steps of setting up college emails. Another thing that can be completed this summer would be college essays. We love the essay guy. He is a fabulous resource. We also have fabulous teachers, and many have already worked with our students on college essays. Dual enrollment may work on that in the fall with students. The Common App prompts have already been released, so they could get an idea of what topic they want to use. They can start on a draft. My only suggestion is that they have someone edit that essay before they submit, a teacher, a counselor, a parent. But I encourage anyone who is editing to remember we need to keep the student's voice authentic. It is hard for us not to over edit, but we have to keep that in mind. Colleges are stressing more and more. They want to hear the student's authentic voice. So let's support our students and encourage our students, but try not to change the tone of the essay. Another thing that can be done this summer or very early in the fall is do a joint family calendar, whatever works for you. Paper, Google spreadsheet, whatever works. I did this with my girls, and it's a good reminder to me as a parent to nudge my student. Like I would see that the deadline was coming up for UTK. So a few weeks before I might say, hey, where are we on this? Our goal date is to have this app in 3 days. Just something to keep motivating and supporting your student. Keep in mind they are driving the train, but parents are a huge component in the support position. So that way everyone's on the same page. What I recommend putting on this calendar or spreadsheet is application dates. I encourage putting number of recs required, scholarship application deadlines for each institution. If the institution requires an ACT, if they do require an ACT, must they receive it directly from the testing agency? Will they take it from us on a transcript? So those are all important pieces of information that you know so that you can complete each college. And I hate to say this, but every college will have different requirements. So you got to do a little bit of research and figure out what each school expects from their applicants. The last thing you can really get accomplished this summer, it can wait till the fall, but I suggest going ahead and doing it this summer. If your student is considering athletics in college, they need to complete either the NCAA Eligibility Center or the NAIA Eligibility Center. That way, students are eligible for coaches to reach out, to start communicating, to invite them to organized events. Within the NCAA, we have Division 1, 2, and 3. Division 1 and 2 require an NCAA Eligibility Center account. Division 3 does not require an account. If you're not certain, you can always speak to the coach who you are in communication with, or you can come by and see me. My girls, 3 of my 4 girls played sports in college. They all ended up going D3. So we wouldn't have needed the Eligibility Center, but we went ahead and created an account, and it was helpful because several of the D3 schools asked if we had D1 offers, and we did, and they basically matched it financially. I'm not saying every D3 school will do that, but it was nice that we had that to offer to the D3 coach, and they were able to come up with a financial aid package that would have basically mirrored what a D school would have offered. So that was helpful. Again, we are in the fishbowl. If you're not sure about this, send the student by, or in the fall, we are happy to have individual meetings. And I actually encourage that if your student is considering athletics, to set up an individual meeting with myself and Ms. G in the fall, and we can go over all this information with you in a little more detail. I want to talk just a little bit about the transcript and what the transcript will look like next year. We are excited that we are going to have a weighted GPA. It's going to be official. It's going to be something that majority of colleges will accept. Some schools will do their own calculation of a GPA, but we will have our standard GPA and our weighted GPA on every student's transcript. You should have a higher weighted GPA if you took any advanced course. Those include honors, local dual credit, state dual credit, dual enrollment, or IB. If you took even one of those courses, your weighted GPA should be higher than your standard GPA. We have done one transcript check with all of the juniors at Junior Workshop. We will do a second transcript check in the fall when we do our second Naviance training during SOAR classes. The main thing we need you to look for on the transcript checks is that our letters match our numbers. So if you have a 90B, that is not correct. We need to make that correction. The B would be reflected in the GPA, not the 90. So we need to make sure your letters match your numbers. One other thing we want to be certain is that if you retook a class, you will have an NC noted on your transcript. If there is an NC, that means that grade is not calculated in the GPA. If you retook a class and we do not see the NC, we need to make that correction. So those are some of the things we're looking for. Again, we will do another transcript check in the fall. We encourage the students to take home their transcript to their parents so they can take a look as well. We have made a decision pretty much standard as a county in the last few years that we are not including the ACT on the transcript. Lots of schools obviously went test optional during COVID. We do see a trend of schools coming back to requiring the ACT, but very often these schools will let you self-report at no charge. They will take it off our transcript if a student wants the ACT included. I will go over this again in the fall with each student. If a student decides they want their ACT on the transcript, we can make that happen. They must email me or Miss G and give us permission to add the ACT to the transcript. And we told them, and I want to keep you in the loop as well, if you ask for the ACT to be included, it will be on every transcript that goes to every college. We cannot say, I just want it to go to UTK, but please do not put it on Vanderbilt. We can't do that. So if there's even one school that the student does not want to receive their ACT, we have to leave the ACT off the transcript and come up with another way to send the ACT to colleges. Like I said, there's lots of options. Colleges are letting students self-report. Students can use the free codes to send when they take the ACT. If worst case scenario, you pay to have it sent from ACT. We will work with the students in the fall to make sure the ACT gets to the school in the manner of which the school can and will receive it. Our transcript does not show rank. We removed rank in 2017. And the reason we did this is Signal Mountain is an extremely academic school, and we had students with 3.8s who were like 95th. It just wasn't a benefit. Most colleges have told us they have moved away from rank and the importance of rank. We state on our profile we do not rank. Students should report they do not rank. That's always an option in a drop-down bar. If a college needs something indicating rank, we can give a decile or a percentage. But as I stated, most schools have completely moved away from this and do not require a rank. Our only exception to this is if they are number 1 or number 2, we do tell them that at the beginning of the year and then again in January so that they can apply as valedictorian or salutatorian. Sometimes colleges will give specific scholarships for that, so we want to make an allowance for our valedictorian and our salutatorian. We also make exceptions for military. Military academies want exact rank. So if you're applying to military academy, we will generate a transcript for you that shows your rank. I just want to give one more reminder that we are here to support and motivate our kiddos. Please encourage them to check emails. That is the way that Miss G and I will communicate with them. We do have a group remind, which is wonderful, but often the group remind will say, go check your email. That's how we're going to communicate major deadlines, events, and that's how colleges will communicate. So help your student stay motivated in checking that email inbox regularly. Thank you for joining me for part 1 of College 101. Part 2, we will cover Naviance and application types.